This chapter is also terribly late, and yet we are being thrown into a situation where we once again are played with my heart. Are we to experience ultimate despair, or are we to experience hope? As things are going now, maybe we are to experience ultimate despair. It's the Shokugeki no Soma chapter 225, and we see finally a little bit more glimpse on Saito Some's personality. Seems like yes, his big kitchen knife really is a way to mimic Bushido, and he's a Bushido practicer. So well, the gang are amazed by Mimisaka's trace flash. Even the judge are pretty impressed by that, saying that even though a regiment Kashin can support allies, they still have to cook for themselves. So supporting allies is just as difficult as cooking the match themselves. But he can do that because, well, he is Mimisaka, one of the great Rebels team's greatest assets for bringing them victory. Which, by the way, he says it, one of the Rebels team's greatest assets. That's saying that I'm beginning to wonder. So Mimisaka calls himself Sesha Some Sato. You know, Sesha is an old extinct way of samurais used to say I. So Some thus says that he is impressed by his ability is magnificent. However, even though he uses Bushido, he never calls himself Sesha, which immediately every single one of his Elite 10 members, especially the third years, immediately deny, saying, nah, you use it sometimes. You sure do. Yep, he does. Megashima, even you? So Mimisaka was actually pretty like that. But yeah, turns out Somisato is an arrogant Bushido-like man. As he cuts the steak with his samurai kitchen knife, he decides to give it to Mimisaka and saying like he decides to even the playing field. If you truly want to become mine, then you cannot cut me, then you cannot cut food with a knife that is inferior to mine. But it's basically his samurai code. He is saying like, if you do not want to wield my beloved blade in a second turn, it will be most unfair. Otherwise, it should violate my Bushido core. That I cannot accept. Seems like his so-called code is evening the playing field by um, making them by finding a special perfection, so to think. He's genuinely entrapped by the samurai'sness of his own conduct. So if there is a way he can even the playing field for another player, then he will do it, just so they can have an even perfectional match. That's very arrogant, but also very samurai-ness. So Mimisaka accepts the knives and with his trace cuts that elsewhere. As the cooking match draws even more closer, Mimisaka still flashes. However, it's worth noting that he is the only one that is actually sweating. That is not a good sign. I mean, Somisato is not sweating at all, but Mimisaka is. I'm having difficult things to do that. But then we are switched to Mimisaka's flashback when he begins to do his image training. And he really suffered mentally for that a little bit. Drawing traces of everyone in the Elite 10 was extremely difficult for him. Moreover, because he just didn't know which kind of opponent he would face. Therefore, he has to master the image training of every single Elite 10 thus far. And that is actually a big burden. But tracing them a whole lot is toll on his body. But here Mimisaka once again shows his unique skills. Soma has unique skills usually combined very small things in a very big gourmet way. A very creative MacGyver-like cooking. Takumi is very good with his Italian cooking, but also open for very good change. Megami's heart opens up the trueness of cooking, even though it is very still. But Mimisaka, his cooking is basically that he can, by mimicking so many other different people, he can really break in a new sort of barrier on how to cook. He's basically having Soma's mentality in there, never giving up and cooking with everything else. With all there is. And the reason why he's so determined on doing this is because he's actually thankful towards Takumi and Yukihara Soma, because because when Soma defeated him, Mimisaka was a jerk then, and basically was ready to throw in the towel. But Soma says A chef is a sore loser. Everyone can change. And Takumi says, "You won fair and square, even though I did not like it, so I will not lose next time." So now he's standing there for them, not as a stalker or something like that. Just he is standing before them as a chef. So he begins to get deeper as he creates all of the different personalities of the different elite ten. And let me tell you, it's pretty gonk. But then it arranges them. As the cooking match for Suome Sato and Mimisaka is finally done, Suome Sato serves first, a 10 pieces of tuna ruby orbs sushi. But Mimisaka will now add his one and only difference, because we know that's how he cooks. He can perfectly trace a cooking, but then he adds his own final spin on it, just to make it a little bit more different. What it is, we do not know. However, the time remaining is 10 minutes, and will we see the other people cook their done first, or will Sume Sato and the rest and Mimisaka serve up? Who will win? Well, if Mimisaka loses, then we will be thrown into a very huge despair, meaning that the rebels won't win this match. I actually believe he will be the one to lose, but now we're seeing this moments. You're toying with my feelings, Yuto. I'm just saying that. And of course, well, the only one who seems to... Nah, I mean, I don't know. I don't want Somi to win, but if he wins, then at least I know he will lose the next round. That is only a fact. So give me your thoughts if you have any.